Welcome to NFL Prop Picks powered by The Blitz. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Derek Carty, the mind behind the numbers, coming off a cool 5-0 Thursday night. Where am I in the week? Thursday night football, some late ads. It was actually a really cool spot because there was a lot of moving pieces. Deontay Johnson, right? Is he going to jump into that offense and do anything? The answer is no. There were a lot of pieces coming back to that Cincinnati offense yesterday. It's just too many mouths to feed to go big. So great job on a lot of the unders there last night, Derek.
Yeah, it was a really nice night. I was happy about it. So 6 units sweeping the board is a great way to start the week. And I'm hoping we can keep it going.
Did you see the last time we saw you? Did you see the freeze frame?
I didn't. I have to go back and look at it. You said it was great.
It's creepy. It's like from Smiles 2, the movie. There you go. Yahtzee's asking, can Derek do the face again? It was good luck. And now we got 3 games. I don't know how excited the imports department of Germany is going to be excited for Carolina versus the Giants, Bryce Young and Daniel Jones. But it's one of those things. Are you going to wake up early? Make sure to get all the tickets in Sunday morning? Maybe not. Maybe not. But what did I was looking at? I was looking at the run rate because the Giants offense does not want to run the ball. Does not want to pass the ball. They're literally terrified of it.
Yeah. They
ran the ball 22 times and passed 6 times in the first half last week.
That's insane.
And yeah, that's where Daniel Jones finished 4 for 6 with a touchdown and 0 yards.
Yeah, well, I'm being forced into starting Daniel Jones in my fantasy league this week.
He's getting right. Hey, on your numbers, I saw the over 5.5 carries look great. Yeah. It got juiced pretty good, but he looked a lot more run heavy last week than he did the previous week. And running over the defender might have something to do with it going forward. But let's get right to it. Germany, Sunday morning, Giants, Carolina. Giants, 6.5-point favorites. Like, how bad do you have to be in Carolina to be a 6.5-point dog to Daniel Jones in that offense?
I know.
Bryce Young can't be happy about it. Total sitting at a cool 40.5. Germany, Bayern Munich field indoors, I believe. Yes, I don't think it's one of.
It's a weird roof. It's like a partial roof that can be retracted.
It's not like the Brazil roof where it's like a circle and the fans are dry.
It's like made of like airbags or something, and they can like collapse into the scoreboard in the middle. It's weird. Yeah, I think it's more going to be closer to an outdoor game. I think it's going to be a little cold, but I don't know if the roof really does anything about that.
Get ready for Bob Denver. John Denver? What'd I say? Bob Denver. You idiot, Josh. Take Me Home, Country Roads will be played loudly at some point in that game. The fans drinking. Start Tracy or CMC. Oh, cheeseburger ready. We'll get this out and we'll talk about that. ESPN, MGM, play territory. We are in play territory. Passing props. Even money still there. Let's go. Bryce Young over 17.5 completions, even money. Bryce Young over 17.5 completions, even money. 24 completions 2 weeks ago. 16 completions in his 2 starts. 24 completions as a 13-point dog, 16 completions as a 7-point dog. I know we don't want to think about the Giants building a big lead and Bryce Young being a comeback mode player right there in this game, but that's the line, no?
That is the line. I mean, as gross as it is, that's the line. You know, they're probably, maybe, if the books are right, going to be forced into throwing the ball. I bet this one, I think the last couple of weeks, it's done pretty well. Like Bryce Young, I'm not going to make any case for being a good quarterback. The Blitz has him projected as the worst starting quarterback on the field this week. And that includes Cooper Rush, who's starting for Dallas.
So the bar's low, you're saying, on old Bryce Young.
Yeah, the Blitz does not think he's good, but neither do books. And I think that's why we're being offered a little bit of value on the over because he's, even bad quarterbacks can still complete passes. They can still dump off to running backs, which
they need to play the whole game. Just like
that's
Panthers, probably more the worry of anything, right?
Yeah. And I don't think I guess I shouldn't say that. I don't think they'd bench him here.
It's a tough spot, right? You think they'd be less willing to bench him in Germany?
Yeah.
Just because there's probably a lack of more reps and getting ready for a game plan for the back.
Yeah. I think if they don't like him, I think they probably let him finish this game up and then go back to Dalton next week. But I guess we'll see. Yeah. So that's the hope here, that he's passably okay and not terrible, and that sometimes is enough. The projection here, I think, is like, let me see. It's pretty high, actually. It's like 19.5. Okay. So like two over the line, which is not huge, but it's still 2 completions over, still nice value.
Robert Salah did not make it out of he lost his job after an overseas game. You think anybody loses their job in this game, right? If Bryce Young comes up and just absolutely balls out, is it game over? Is it game over? I don't know for the coaching staff, for the Giants, but I don't know. It's a messy one, but like that's where we are with Bryce Young, and you're making me double up on Bryce Young here, Derek. You know that, right?
I know.
But the safe thing is, and I'm glad you said it, that the projections absolutely hate him. Right? It's not like, no, I'm going out on a limb. I think there's a little hidden value in this Bryce Young character.
No, the Blitz is under no illusions that Bryce Young is a good NFL quarterback, because he's not. But
all right, let's go. Bet365. Another play. Running props. Looking like minus 105. That was our number, correct?
No, we were at plus 105, actually. Sorry, I think ESPN and MGM have even money, if that's not too much trouble. If not, we can take it there.
Let's see what kind of mood producer Mick is in. He's in a good mood. Let's go. That did move. And we're back. We're jumping over to ESPN, go over to the score, go to rushing props. Player rushing attempts. Bryce Young, under 2.5, even, is there. Losing a bit of value. Doesn't move as much as baseball, but moving a little here. Under 2.5 carries, even money. That's a play. 4 carries last week. Oh, my goodness. Did you know that 2 of them were kneel downs at the end of the game? Those are always the easiest ones to weed out in terms of predictable rushing volume.
Exactly, yeah. Bryce Young is not a guy they really run any designed carries for. He'll scramble a little bit, but not a lot. He's 3-3 to the under on this, and the ones where he's gone over have been ones with kneel downs for the most part. So hopefully they don't win here against the Giants, but they're touchdown underdogs, so kneel down equity is low for Bryce Young here.
Back to Cheeseburger Eddie. Start Tracy or CMC. Now, the first things first, you got to get rid of that E in Tracy. There is no E in Tracy's name. But I love Tracy. Like he could be in for 20 touches versus, you just play against Carolina. Like that's it. Most yards allowed, most rushing attempts, most rushing TDs. I think they allow 1.4 rushing TDs to opposing running backs per game.
I like Tracy. I don't think you can not start McCaffrey, though. We don't know what his workload's going to be. There's some more risk there, but it's McCaffrey. Like, you didn't draft him to put him on your bench.
Oh, there's the fantasy mind of Derek. It doesn't come out much, honestly. We don't have much fantasy talk, but it is a good point. If you used 1-1, you should probably start him. But I like it. I still think Tracy. Tracy, just look at what the projection is on Tracy. His rushing total's 72.5. He's even money for a touchdown, which is a coin flip. So right there, you're looking at 75 yards and half a touchdown in projection. Yeah. CMC could have 3.
He could.
But he could also have 12 touches. Who knows what that's going to be. All right, that's it. We're leaving Germany. We're going Monday Night Football. Detroit, Houston. Detroit, 3.5-point road dog. Joins the other likings of Atlanta as a 3.5-point road dog this week. Buffalo is a 3.5-point road dog this week. Road favorite this week. Detroit is the favorite. Apologize. Indoor game coming with two offenses who were in outdoor games last week. I think there's a little value across Goff we were looking at, and I know your projection likes his over a little bit on his passing yards. We saw the funny game 2 weeks ago where he didn't have to pass and they scored 100 points and he only threw for 82 yards. And then last week in the rain in Green Bay, which is a good pass defense, it was just kind of a sloppier game because of the conditions. They finally get back to indoors. I think there could be some more passing in this game. But we're getting a play. We're at ESPN, and we're targeting a running back first. Is Brian Daboll starting to think about his job by going heavy rushing and not passing with Daniel Jones?
It's possible. I mean, it's crazy that he's in the spot now where he's kind of on a hot seat, but they've been so bad.
Yeah, 4 for 6, 0 yards in the first half last week. All right, let's get going. Montgomery under 14.5 carries, even money. That's a play. David Montgomery under 14.5 carries, even money. That's a play. 17 carries last week, but a lot of that had to do with the conditions of just being a wet, crappy game. Don't want to pass it. He's under this number in 4 straight games before that. So maybe just an outlier in what is an outlier of a setting for Detroit, we'll say. Yes, last week at Lambeau. What do you got here for Monty?
Yeah, this number looks like way too high to me. The Blitz is projecting about 12.5. He's only gone over this number this year 3 times. One of them was last week in the rain. One of them was an overtime game, week 1. And then there was one other week. They're basically interchanging him and Jahmyr Gibbs right now. You know, if he has a spike week where he's the one leading the backfield, you know, he can go over. But if they're just splitting it up, it's going to be kind of tough for him to do it. And offensive coordinator Ben Johnson came out this week and he said the way Jared Goff is playing, it makes him want to call more passes right now, which I thought was interesting. I'm not acting on that. I'm not changing projections at all, but that does give us potentially some hidden equity in here too.
Also within that hidden equity, Jameson Williams is back. He's been gone for 2 games. And in those 2 games, Jared Goff didn't hit 200 yards passing. And Jameson Williams, I was looking at his game logs, 6 games, 4 of those games, like 79 or more yards. Like he's accounted for a very good chunk of yardage. So good to have him back. The team's as healthy as it's been offensively rolling into this little extra week. I mean, Houston gets the extra rest on the Thursday night game, but should be an interesting game, especially with CJ Stroud coming off maybe the ugliest QB performance of week 9 versus the Jets. I think he took 8 sacks in that game. We'll see how it rolls. Detroit, we got Montgomery under 14.5 carries, even money, and that's the only thing rolling through there. Although I did just write up my picks and predictions for that game. I'm taking Goff over 230.5. I just think
I do like that.
I say it's pretty weird to get a bargain for an MVP candidate, but the mean closing number on that total has been like 252.
Yeah. I took Goff pass attempts earlier this week. I think it was over 28.5, and he's up to like 30.5 everywhere now.
28.5?
Yeah.
Oh, it's at 30. I know you project about 32, but it's at 30.5. It's really come up. Is Nico back?
He got his window got open today. So, but today's like his first day practicing.
Yeah, you get a 3-week window.
I kind of doubt he's going to be back this week.
I didn't see anything. That's why I was so surprised. I didn't see anything yesterday. My head was in the typing mode today. I know your projection does like both of their overpassing slightly, right? They're over both of their numbers. I think for my SGP I'm throwing out, I think I'm going to go both quarterbacks. Both quarterbacks will throw 250 in that game is 4-1, which isn't a terrible number for a modest indoor game. Just worried about Joe Mixon getting 35 carries. That's basically what you're worried about. Speaking of another game, let's go. Monday night, basically a pick'em. Dolphins, Rams, another indoor game. Let's go. Rams actually a slight 1-point favorite. Total sitting at a lofty 50. We got another play. Lots of value showing on this. And if you haven't noticed, a lot of that has to do with the indoor games too. Let's go. Bet365, Matthew Stafford. Let's go to the carries. This one's terrifying. But plus 160 is a big number.
It's the number they're giving us on it.
Stafford under 0.5 carries, plus 160. That's a play. That's nuts. Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah,
Let's go see if producer Mick could just go show me what the money lines are for that slate, the Sunday slate, to just go back to the full one page, go to the entire schedule to see where plus 160 is in terms of value in a money line on a dog. Okay. There you go. So that's okay. That's about that's about taking a 3.5 point dog to win outright. Okay. The Saints are trash too. That's I know it's 3.5 for the Falcons and everybody wants it, but you're missing wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. Cedric Wilson might not play either. Jamal Williams could be out, and Kendra Miller is also out. Like, they're decimated. It's going to be Taysom Hill season again. I know we're not talking about that game, but I'm excited for Taysom Hill season anytime.
I took some Derek Carr overs because I thought it was too low, even though they're decimated like that. So I'm hoping the Saints come out and look good.
That's how you think. You got such a funny way of thinking. Everyone's like, "Oh, awful." You're like, I bet the market's representative of that, and it usually is. New coach bump? No. This is a spot where I don't see a new coach bump. Offensive philosophy will probably still be the same. They shipped off their best corner. Kool-Aid McKinstry is also banged up. Like, they're down to like CB3 and CB4 and have 4 guys in the secondary on IR. And if there's a team, I mean, what's the word on Drake London? He fell and hurt his thigh. I saw that. He might play.
Questionable. I think more likely to play than not, but certainly not guaranteed.
But like Darnell Mooney stepped up. Like, he's big time. And Ray McLeod isn't a terrible 3 to move to 2 if he does go to the outside. I don't know if he plays most of his stuff in the slot, but they can get past it, especially with a lead. It's a funny team. Watch it. Atlanta will run Tyler Algier 16 times if they have the lead. He'll get the red zone carries. He's an interesting one because if they play with the lead, they just lean on him too, the bigger back, despite not being anything close to the back that Bijan is. Matthew Stafford under 0.5 carries. Didn't talk about it at all. 4-4 to the 4 over under. But I think the value lies in this is that it's kind of, what's the word? Clustered over in the last 3 because he's hit the over in 3 straight, but it's probably a 50-50 bet.
Yep, that's exactly it. I think it's priced this way because of the recency of it, but recency doesn't matter. Matthew Stafford has not become a better rushing quarterback in the last 3 weeks somehow than he's been previously in his career. Like, it doesn't work that way. Matthew Stafford has the lowest projected scramble rate of any starting quarterback this week. They give him basically no designed runs. If he gets there, maybe he gets a QB sneak. Maybe he gets a kneel down. But they're giving us plus 160. So I'm taking this at this value.
And basically a pick 'em. So the equity within the kneel downs about as low as it can get for a team as a favorite. Kamara will have 20 targets. Yes, he will. There's no way around that. He absolutely will. I know popping as it weekly does on your numbers, Derek. Foster Moreau looks like another over bet. Juwan Johnson looks like another over. But all of a sudden, like, I don't know, I keep getting back to the Saints. That, like, they're rolling like MVS and Jermaine Jackson, who I have no idea is as maybe wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. It's
don't forget about Mason Tipton, Josh.
Oh, stop it. I forgot that is
it.
wide receiver 1. He had 0 targets last week, and I think he ran like every route. That's bad. That's bad. We're still here. We're still Monday night. We're having a good time. Let us know in the chat, Kamara. Yes, we know that. Bet 365. Last one. It's a play. Kyron. Receiving. Receptions. Under 2.5. Plus 105. Kyron Williams under 2.5 receptions. Plus 105. That's a play. Michael and Tito's brother. Yes, exactly. Jermaine. Exactly. If you can name the other ones, I don't know how many brothers there were in the Jackson family.
There were 5, weren't there?
Oh, that's smart. But were they all brothers? Like, did like Janet not count as the 5?
I don't think she was in the Jackson 5. I think it was just the boys. I could be wrong. It was a little.
No, you're probably right. Who was
time.
the angry person who ran it? What was his name?
Come
on, chat. Who was the one that made those kids work? LaToya. No, it wasn't LaToya. That's the other sister. Joe. There it is. Thank you, producer Mick. It was just the boys and Joe Jackson. Louder, Mike. All right. Do we even talk about this one yet? No, we didn't. But there's more bodies in this pass. Like Puka got tossed somehow last week with the sissiest punch in town. Like that was bad. That's probably something they probably shouldn't have thrown him out for. And at the end of the day, he only had 1 target with 1 catch, I think. But there's a lot of bodies now. And now you see, like, I'll give a lot more credit to your numbers. Demarcus Robinson was popping weekly when the guys weren't here. All of a sudden, everybody's back, and now he's having the most efficient type of weeks that any receiver could have is WR3.
Yeah. That is I mean, basically with Cup and Puka back, that's what this comes down to. Cup and Puka are back. They're going to eat up more than half of the targets themselves. Much less need to check down to running backs. Kyren Williams projects as a really, really bad efficiency pass catching running back. Because this shows up almost weekly to some extent, showing value. And I looked into it. I'm like, does it just hate Kyren Williams? And I'm like, yeah, it does. He's terrible. He's not a very good catching running back. And the target share is going to come down a little now with Puka and Cup. And so this one looks pretty good to me.
And looking at it, I mean, the first game back with both of those guys, it was the Puka show, right? I was on Cooper Kupp, and I was like, how is he not getting more action here? And then it was flip-flop because obviously Puka was out in game 2. So this might be the first game back where they're both 100% and can get 25 targets between the two of them.
Yeah.
Doesn't leave a lot to go around. And oh boy, I was thinking of you when I was trying to bet last night the Chase Brown over 3.5 receptions. And with minus 120, and it is just an ugly number. If you know betting running back numbers, 3.5 is a bad number to bet, especially paying the tax for it. But he got over. But knowing numbers is big. I couldn't do it. I thought it might be on Coker over 2.5 receptions plus 115. Any thoughts on him? I bet my house on him last week, and he didn't do anything, so he's going to go off this week.
Yeah, I know the Blitz. The Blitz likes that one. Just kind of have to pick and choose for the show how many to do. We already had two Carolina ones I liked more, but yeah, the Coker one is definitely showing some value.
Where are we for that stupid tight end who ice chips? Yeah, I was eating ice chips that night. Tommy Tremble. If Tommy Tremble doesn't play, what's his Lajavius Sanders?
Javian Sanders?
He's the best tight end in football.
Yeah, his role.
So I didn't know that usage was because of Tremble. And 3 weeks ago when he went off, I'm like, oh, I'm going back to him. Tremble plays, he gets nothing, and then he went off again last week.
Yeah.
What's the word on Tremble? Do we have one for Friday? Because I know he's questionable.
Questionable. Have not heard one way or the other which way he's leaning. I have him projected in at the moment, but we will have to see. I think it could go either way.
And if he isn't, look for that over as well. Xavier Legette probably could have had a bigger game last week too. Bryce Young dropped one in his lap, and the DB just ripped it out of his hands for an interception. But it was like a 35-yard gain. I know your numbers like him as well this week, no?
Sorry, who was that?
Xavier Legette.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Legette is definitely another guy that I think, there's a little bit of value on. He's kind of the de facto wide receiver one there now.
Don't want to put too many eggs into the Bryce Young basket, though.
That's kind of the thing. Like, how much do you really want to be invested in this Panthers passing offense? That's kind of the question you have to ask yourself.
And the last thought here, Derek and I were saying before we got on air, just remember, back in week 1, Pre-week 1, preseason. The books had what's his first name? Brooks. What's Brooks' first name? Jalen?
Jonathan Brooks.
Jonathan Brooks is offensive rookie of the year at like plus 125. Yeah. That's the dumbest line I've ever heard of. And they knew he wasn't going to play 2 weeks. That's dumb.
He's going to be Chuba Hubbard's backup now.
Chuba's the man. The Canadian running backs are getting paid and doing it well with Chase Brown and Chuba. So we'll leave it at that. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Derek Carty. Those are the plays. 5-0. Thursday night football. Let's keep going. We got Sunday morning, Sunday night, Monday night, and boom, week 10 will be over before we know it. Josh Ingles, Derek Carty. This is NFL Prop Picks powered by the Blitz. We'll see you later.